Welcome to Royle Subjects, your go-to podcast for anyone trying to navigate the ever-changing world of real estate.
Come with us as we explore topics that are always relevant, never boring, and designed with you in mind. Well, in Canada, there's been a push for housing, right? Part of that is what we talked about in our last week episode of duplex conversions and, multifamily happening within the single family realm. But another big part of that is pre-construction.
Absolutely.
Right? We're seeing a lot more of that in Canada-wide, but in Belleville particularly, there is more than 10 in the last year that have been actively under construction. And segueing into what's going on with the Royle Group, Ben has actually just recently signed a really interesting deal. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. I'm very, very excited to announce further that I have a partnership with Brower Homes. So Brower Homes is a Belleville, locally owned company that does pre-con in the area for anything from subdivisions to tiny homes to spec houses, meaning your dream home can be built on whatever piece of land, wherever you want it. So we have a lot of variety of options, and it's really nice to work for because you have a preset, usually floor plan type of idea with general specs in terms of shingles and kitchenware and stuff like that. But you can always upgrade and change, so you can really add your flavor to your house. Mm-hmm. So it's neat.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
I will touch on this later. I have a big announcement that Brower Homes is doing a subdivision of townhomes coming up in the east end of Belleville. So big news to come. But that's it. So it's going to be townhomes. And with townhomes, you have less personalization, especially on the exterior, because they have to look the same in a row. So you can't have, it's not Prince Edward Island where you have, the John Street buildings where it's yellow and gray and purple and stuff.
No, it's got to be uniform.
It's got to be fairly uniform on the outside. But if you go into a subdivision that has single-family detached homes, you have a lot of flexibility there. And again, you just walk into Brower Homes right in the front door and just say, I'm looking for this. They've got a couple of models they can show you, and then you can personalize it.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why people are drawn to pre-con is because you can pick and choose, right? When you buy an existing home, you can renovate and you can do updates and things like that, but ultimately you're living in someone else's floor plan, someone else's design, someone else's style, and you can make it your own. But I definitely think that there would be a really exciting element to, I've never done it before, but that is the goal, for us to be able to build our own home and to be able to customize all of the little details. I think for some, in some regards it might seem daunting, but in others it's really kind of exciting because like you said, you get to personalize, and you're going to be living in this home for, whoever knows how long, so it'd be really neat to be able to personalize it, make it exactly what you want to wake up and look at every day.
Absolutely. And you can get lost in the sauce there. You can over personalize and spend too much time, because even though when you're making your forever home, it very likely is not your forever home, even though it feels like that. You're going to miss some stuff, and that's okay. Yeah. Get the best of what you can, take the best ideas. You can obviously, paralysis by analysis, and you can add way too much and put too much time into it. But overall, the experience is lovely. I've done it a couple times myself personally for homes that I've lived in, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you guys, you're doing that right now, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And one of the big things that people don't want pre-cons for is the time. So generally speaking, we're a society that wants things now. The reason why more chocolate bars get bought at the end of the cashier is because they're readily available, and you think of it right now, and it's easy to put it in and go.
Absolutely. Guilty of that.
Exactly, right? They work really, really, really well. So when people think, okay, I'm ready to go buy a house, they go out, look on the market, realtor.ca, they go see 10 houses, they buy one, and then they get to move in 30 days. With pre-con, you're usually strapped to that kind of 4 to 8, 10-ish month range, depending on where they're at with site plans and stuff like that. But if you walked into a builder today, say Brower Homes, and said, I'd like to build an 1,800 square foot bungalow, you're probably going to be from land acquisition to end development 8-ish months to put that together. So you get exactly what you want, but people aren't very good at waiting.
That's
so
true.
Really
instant gratification is a big
absolutely.
thing right now, for
that's
sure.
generally why people shy away.
I'm going to ask you about timeline, but you went there naturally, so perfect. But the financial piece, let's touch on that.
Good question. So financially, it comes in two different ways. So one of them is you can finance it exactly as you would a resale. Now, saying that too, and I did want to touch just a little bit on this, is that if you go to a mortgage broker or specialist and you go ahead and you get your financing condition done early, but your house closes in, say, 10 months, typically there's not very many banks that will do that. So your options are fairly limited because of two things. A, they're going to give you a rate today that maybe the rate has gone up in 10 months, so they lose out. So it's not really that profitable for them.
It's a long time to lock down a rate.
Exactly. Absolutely. And then they've lost out on a couple points by the time that you take over. Or the opposite happens where now rates are cheaper and you shop your rate 3 months to close. They did all this work and then they lose the deal within a month or two anyway. So there's not that many companies that do it, but there are specialists that will help you. And you can finance it exactly as a conventional mortgage. If you are interested in land acquisition and development, as very cash heavy. So very, very generally speaking, it depends on how your mortgage specialist puts it all together, but you buy the land outright because not many places finance land, and then you have to do construction draws. So you end up putting all the plans together, paying for the engineer, talking to the builder. Maybe they do all that for you. Depends on how you want to split up your resources. Come up with a plan, give it to the bank. They give you your first draw. That gets you a couple months into the build. Then there's an inspection that happens. They come out to the inspection, make sure that everything is what you said has been done. They give you your next draw. Then you work with that money. What if there's delays? What if there's weather concerns? What if the trades guys pick up another job and they quit and cancel, and there's adds a whole layer of a complexity to it. But at the end of the day, you're probably going to save some money if you do it that way. So very, very generally speaking, if you bought an $800,000 house in resale market, it would be $800,000. If you bought that as a pre-con done with the builder and finance it conventionally in a subdivision, it's going to be about $800,000. It's going to be pretty much the same, but you get it exactly as you want it. And then if you did it, yourself, you're going to need probably around $350,000 in cash to be able to do that because of the draws and the advances in the land acquisition. But it's only going to cost you about $700,000 to do. So you're going to save some money. It is probably more time intensive too because you are involved in the process and the inspections and such that turns that 8-month process into a 10 or 12. But you do save some money, and you really do have a big hand in developing. So it's cool.
Yeah. So there's essentially two applications for this, because you can either go and buy a piece of land and then build the home with the builder, or alternatively, you pick something that they have already established, like out of a subdivision, and that is the land and the home all in one, right? Absolutely. Like those are the two options that you can take, and I think that those are really popular options too, especially in our area, because there's room for both. That's something that I love about Quinte and Belleville. You drive 5 minutes in either direction and you're out in land, and there's a lot of great land listings, Crow Road, that you can acquire and then build and do whatever you want. Like there's so much, that's something that I love about pre-construction, is that there's so much creativity and so much personalization. It doesn't have to be a mansion. It can just be exactly tailored to you. You got a basement walkout and 2 bedrooms in there. Now you've got a rental potential. It's lots of different options, and I think it's exciting to this feels like the theme of the episodes lately. Just more options, more housing, and it's exciting to be a part of that. Which is
a great way to tie back into pre-con in general. Is that if you have this concept from the start, we can go build it. And you can get that personalization in, and that you can future-proof your home right away.
Wow,
so
future-proof.
I like that.
I like that.
Is that the episode name?
Future-proof, yeah. Well, I think that's great because, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. I think the last few years have kind of taught us that. You don't get a say in what happens in life sometimes. But if you can build literally something that has the potential to provide for you long-term or to grow as an investment over the years to come, why not?
Absolutely.
I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you're interested in pre-con, keep an eye on our socials and our website, and, there's going to be more to come with the Brower Homes. And
Absolutely.
Ben. We will build it. You just need to show up.
There you go.
Right? There you go.
I'm Danielle.
I'm Sarah.
I'm still Ben.
And we can't wait to talk to you next week. If you have any questions regarding real estate, please feel free to reach out at our website, theroyalgroup.ca, or the Royle Group on any social media platforms.
See you around.